Thank you for joining us today. I'm Cooper, and I am happy to be here with Angie Troxel of the Troxel team. And we're going to be talking about some of her social media strategy because she is a social media maven. We're trying a little bit of a different format where it's a conversation. We have microphones in our faces so we can record audio for podcasts as well, hopefully giving agents something to listen to while they're driving to and from appointments. Angie, you and I have been working together, I put in quotes, on social media since I started here 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I put quotes on working together because you've taught me more than I've taught you about social media.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I really learned a lot from Angie because all the things that I'm terrible at in social media, you are really good at naturally.
Thank you.
So let me throw some stats out at you so you understand how prolific their social media is. They have 1.2 thousand followers on Facebook, and you do almost no paid advertising. So those are people that we're going to talk about that. How are those people finding you? And 1.5, just almost 1.5. You should have a party when you hit 1.5 on Instagram. So a very large audience, larger than you'd think for, husband and wife team that are doing a sphere business. Talk to me about how you got started on social media.
So I just love it in general. So it's one of my passions. A lot of people, social media, they don't love it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They fear it.
You
don't fear it.
I don't fear it. I love it. I got started because I found a lot of people motivational on social media, and I kind of wanted to do the same thing they were doing, and I love bringing people value. So that's how I really got started. I wanted to show people if I found something that was great in life, I wanted to show them that it's great and that they could try it too or do it or.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So bringing people value and sometimes through motivation.
Yes.
So how do you find those things that you're going to share to try to bring people value or motivate them?
So I have like a platform of like five things I stick to, I would say, on social media.
Okay.
Probably like.
Write these down.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. So I have things that I love in life. I'm kind of like a persona. I love to work out. So I do a lot of working out stuff, motivational working out stuff.
Sure.
I do a lot of my family stuff. I'm a mom, and people love to see that. Yeah. Real estate, obviously, I try to incorporate every part of the real estate transaction in social media. Every part, because people really do like to see that, especially transformation of houses or stuff they can do to their house. I incorporate Jesus on my stuff too. That's just one of my things.
Personal faith.
Yeah, personal faith. And what's my fifth one? Exercise.
Interior design.
Interior design for sure. Thank you. Yes. So like I have even like a whole bubble that's just like trends that I'm seeing in the new construction homes nowadays. Yeah. So that's like my other.
You want to know something funny?
What?
So because I don't know you that way, I've never been to your house, so I don't know what pictures you're posting on your house or not your house. I can't tell. Because your house looks so much like the things that you're aspiring to. So definitely success there. Okay, there's a couple things you said I want to dig into. You talked a little bit about your family.
Yes.
And being a mom and using that in your social media content. How do you know what personal things to share with your business audience?
So like you said, all of my audience is my sphere. So it's all people that known me for a very long time, and they want to know my family more, and they want to see my kids growing up. And so anything that has to do, especially like I do my kids' activities on there. If I like if I'm painting with my daughter a certain way, I'll post that, and then moms can be like, oh, I should do that with my kid, or little snacks that my kids like that are more healthy than different snacks and stuff. I just kind of post whatever I think like would bring value to someone's life, or if it's a really cute picture of my kids and other people will be like, oh, cute, that kind of stuff. And my dog, I should say.
So you're talking about like little shareable moments.
Yes, shareable moments.
How have you trained yourself to realize when those moments are?
So another thing that we'll get into probably later is that I try to put something on my story every 2 hours.
Every 2 hours?
Or so, yeah.
You wake up in the middle of the night?
No, sorry, no.
I'm just
but
teasing.
I do stay up late.
Yeah.
And that's when I do a lot of my social media. So, no. So when I wake up, like this morning, my daughter was eating an apple on the couch, and she was just so cute with her hair up in the face. So I was like, oh, I got to put that in social media. Like, it's just so cute. I have to share it. Yeah. So that, and then 2 hours later, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to post about a house or something. And then 2 hours. I try to make it mainly about my day, though, and just a little bit of real estate here and there.
So how often does the 2 hour mark come up and you're like, oh, well, I gotta find something for social media? Never. Why? Because that's what people struggle with, right? It's coming up with those ideas.
And that's what like when I try to help people, I'll literally write out, like, I can take a notepad and write out 3 pages of just easy things that come off the top of my mind that you could put on your social media every day. I literally just post my life. I'm out there. I don't hold anything back, really. So anything that comes up, I can post. You know what I mean? Like, I posted this morning, oh, look, my neighbor plowed for me. Oh, that's great. You know, my next door neighbor, like stuff like that.
So basically just sharing
anything
and almost everything.
Anything and everything.
Do you think you live a certain type of life that naturally creates those moments?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a homebody. I'm out doing something all the time.
Yeah.
And doing stuff with my kids. If I just I can't sit still. So no, I have a different type of life where I don't sit and watch TV all day and stuff.
Yeah, right. Definitely. You're doing things that just produce social media moments.
Yes.
All right, shifting gears a little bit here. You have like a crazy number of followers on Facebook and Instagram. How have you...
It's funny that you say that because I don't feel like I have even close to an amount of what I want. I
mean, for a person who is just doing sphere business, it's pretty amazing. Like that's...
good.
In the thousands are like numbers that small businesses who are like brands that have marketing budgets that they, have marketing staff are aspiring to. And you have that just by living your life.
Well, I got all those followers is because when I first got my real estate license, I was a single mom and I worked 3 jobs with my real estate license and I worked 2 hospitals. So one hospital, I think there's 8,000 people that work there and the other maybe like 2,000. So that's a lot of my likes on Facebook, and also all the people I grew up with. My high school was 600 people when I graduated, just my class, so it's literally the people I grew up with my whole life.
So you're in the hospital.
Yep.
What did you do at the hospital?
I was a EMT in the hospital, in the emergency room.
Cool. So you're just like saving lives.
Yeah.
Saving lives, selling homes.
CPR.
Literally. And mother too, yeah. What don't you do?
Yeah.
So, all right, so you're in the hospital, you meet a new person at work, a new coworker. How do you get connect to them on social media?
That's another thing about me is that I like to be friends with everyone, and I talk to everyone. I want to get to know everyone's life. I want to remember stuff about their life. I want to remember their kids' names. And it's not because of business. It's just what I like to do. I love to talk to people. I would go around just talking to people all day. I still get my stuff done, work hard, but I don't get in the middle of stuff. I just am friends with everyone. Sorry, what was your question?
No, you answered it. It's just who you are.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
but exactly. How do you shift that personal relationship into a digital one?
So that's another thing is that I felt like I had to develop all those relationships in person first.
Okay.
And that's why my social media is so strong, because I developed them in person, and I constantly would, even the first 5 years of real estate, I was still at the hospital. So I constantly would develop them in person at work. And I worked both hospitals still for 5 years and did real estate full time. So I I'd keep seeing those people and getting to know their lives. And then so it just transferred over into social media. And I did this, seen how many people like I actually got that followed up with me in social media for my business in 2020. And it was 77% of my business was from follow-up on social media.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Meaning they reached out to you, or you did?
They reached out to me. 77% on social media.
So how many transactions is that?
That year, 2020, we did 45, I think.
So a huge chunk. It's like in the mid 30s, basically. It's pretty amazing. And so you are getting business from social media.
100%. Yep.
So I think one thing that at Inman, someone was talking about social media, how to get followers, and they basically said like, if you meet new people, and it's your job to meet new people, right? If you're selling new sphere, it's your job. If you meet a new person, the second you stop talking to them, go to your phone and connect them with social media.
That's what I do.
So you're friending them. How are you getting them to follow your business profiles, though?
So a lot of people, I'll say, hey, or I'll go on my business profile and it will say, do you want to add people to your, and I go through and just add them. I don't say anything. Sometimes I just do it. If they want to follow me, then they will. Yeah. A person this week, we are on the same page on Facebook where we weren't friends though. And we were talking on it. And then she asked me what I did for business and I told her, and then she went I said, can I add you? And she's like, yeah. So I added her. And I said, also, can I share my business page with you if you ever want to do real estate? And she's like, yes. And now we have a listing appointment on Thursday. I've never met her in my life.
Through social media.
Yep.
That's pretty much 77% of your business. Wow.
Converted from social media.
So you're converting your relationships that you have through your communities, through your life.
Keeping them alive.
And those are strong relationships, right?
Yep.
Like you talked about how it's not just like meeting a new person. It's like learning about them and then continuing to talk to them.
Yep.
And then connecting with them on social media.
Yep.
How do you balance your personal social media accounts with your business accounts?
So I realized that my personal accounts do so much better than my business accounts. Just they do. Which is,
think about how good her personal accounts are doing after knowing how well your business accounts are doing.
My personal accounts blow my business accounts out of the water. Like, if I had 1,000 people look at a post on my business account, it's going to be at least 2,000 to 3,000 on my personal.
Wow. Yep. That's wild. So that's something that I think we overlook a lot. A lot of people focus only on their business marketing. You're like, your personal social media activity is like the majority of it.
Yes.
And your amazing business social media, which seems huge, is actually just like the overspilling.
I mainly stopped my Instagram business page because I wasn't getting enough reaction to it. So I mainly just do my personal Instagram page and I post business stuff on it. But But
I think your personal Instagram page is still a professional account, though.
Yes, it is.
So you can look at the data. That's important.
Yes, right? It is. So I really would like to switch that so it's my personal one, but I can look at the data.
Then I can't analyze the data for you. Okay, that's a good transition because I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, one of the things I help you guys with is I analyze your social media performance data and try to give you some actionable insights on what to focus on based on, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, every social media is changing their algorithm monthly, if not weekly. Yep. So what types of content are going to perform well are constantly changing. So that's something I'm watching for you. I know for a fact that your best posts tend to be your personal ones because of who you guys are and people want to hear from your family, which I think is a big opportunity for most agents to just post your life.
And it's easier.
Share it. Just share it. Doesn't have to be something amazing and exciting. Just share it. What other types of content have you seen performing really well lately?
So one thing I do is I teach myself on YouTube. Like I go and follow all the people and what are they doing to do good on their social media. And a lot of things I've been doing lately is like I'll put a board and batten wall that's green up and a board and batten wall that's black up, and I have people interacting with me, and I'll usually get like 70 people on my Instagram tapping in which one they like. And that brings up your algorithm on Instagram on stuff when people interact with you.
So it's like a poll?
Yep, and you get pushed to the top of everyone else's pages. So like when they go on their Instagram, I'm the first bubble that goes on, and plus I post every 2 hours. So it's like, oh, a new one now. 2 hours later I go check, oh, a new one now,
Are you replying to those
I reply to every single thing I can. Okay, so if I don't get to it during the day, which life happens, I try to remember to go on there at night and reply to everybody. And it's also good for the algorithms to reply a little bit later because then it brings it back up again for other people.
Right. Re-notifies them.
Yep. And like you said, the algorithms always change. And so like this is what the last video I just watched said. So,
yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool. So you're creating polls on Instagram, content that drives engagement. Really cool. You talked about how you're responding to every little bit of engagement you get. I also want to hear from you about how much time you spend, not posting on social media, but messaging people, liking other people's posts, sharing other people's posts, commenting.
So I love social media in general. So it's not hard for me. Like some people hate it, right? Like I said, I spend a lot of time doing that. I try to write back people as fast as I can. If it's a DM, I write them back right away. As you probably saw yesterday.
I don't email Angie anymore. I message her on social media.
I do not. Ben answers the emails. I'm like the straight social media girl. Yeah. I'm all about the fun stuff. And so
let him do that.
He can stuff. He can write the purchase agreements. I'll be the fun person. So yes, I write people DM me. I write them back right away. I try to comment within an hour or two of them commenting on my stuff. I pretty much write back right away. I check my phone a lot. I'm one of those people.
Yeah. It's also the lifeblood of your business, 77%.
It's 77.
I mean, that is a money-making opportunity for you. But it's also doing what you love and care about, which is just relationships. Super cool. So how often are you on social media, not interacting with your own content, but just like scrolling the feed, liking other people's stuff, commenting on other people's stuff?
Yes. So I do that every day, probably like 5 times a day.
5 times a day?
Maybe or more. And I go on Facebook, do it. I have my favorite social media accounts. So Facebook and Instagram are totally my favorite because I have my most personal relationships on those two. So I like going and liking this content or, oh, your little boy's grown up so much. Like I love that stuff. So those are my two favorite. 5 times a day probably. Or maybe that's probably the low.
Yeah, at least 5 times a day. Definitely. Gotcha. Okay, so you did something really interesting when you walked into this room. You immediately said, wait, I got to get some pictures for my social media. You sat down, took a few, and said, wait, the lighting's bad. Let me do it another way.
Yeah.
Can you give some tips on what do you think about in terms of making your social media pictures look good?
Yes. So I actually have an app on my phone that lights up all my pictures and it was only like $70 for this app, but it's like a professional one. And I would invest money in that for sure because your pictures need to Lightroom.
Lightroom. And it's an app on your phone.
And you can download different, you'll see a lot of promotions on it. And you can download different kinds. I wanted the bright ones. I wanted the one that makes houses look good, real estate. So I always first take a picture, then I put it in the Lightroom app, and then I put it on my stuff. Because it's proven that if you have like dark, dingy pictures, no one's going to want to look at your stuff.
That's so interesting because when I if you go and look at Angie's social media stuff, the pictures, they look like most of them are being taken by a professional.
Yeah.
And that's because of the lighting. So you're saying there's an app.
There's an app.
Called Lightroom that just does that for you.
Does it for you.
Okay. That's huge. Yeah. So basically you can pretend to be a professional photographer.
Yeah, there's pictures I take of Aubrey. Like one time she was jumping in the leaves and I took one and I just lit it up and it looks like a professional photo.
Okay, well that is a pro tip.
That's a pro tip.
$70 might be a lot, but like if it turns all of your social media pictures into semi-professional, that's cheaper than one photo shoot.
Write it off.
A lot cheaper. Write it off.
I write off everything.
Finance tips.
I wrote off my Cricut. That's another thing I do, finance tips a little bit too.
Yeah, well those are definitely helpful when you're running your own business. Okay, would you... So we talked, I think a lot of what makes you so successful at social media is just who you are. Your personality, the life you and Ben live naturally kind of gel with social media, both in terms of how good you guys are at just creating relationships, but also your willingness to share. Do you have any advice for agents? Because I believe the majority of agents are really nervous about that. They don't think they live the right kind of life. They feel like they have to change a lot about the way they look, the way their house looks, what they're doing with their life. Do you have advice for agents that are less scared to start getting going?
So my best advice is people like to relate to you. So if you feel like you don't have that lifestyle or if you don't have the best stuff, people are probably going to like you more. Like my biggest post that was liked my biggest video post that was liked in the last 2 months was me going around my house saying that my couch is ripped apart and my furniture is falling apart, but I don't want to spend money on that. I want to invest in real estate. So I'm going to have this furniture that's falling apart. And that was my most liked video because people can relate to it.
Pulling back the curtain.
Yes.
Your whole house is not perfectly staged.
No, it's horrible, like most of the time. So showing people that you're a real person that can get and if people are like, well, I'm not like a blonde girl, whatever. That's not gonna, if showing that you're someone that can bring value, yes, you live the normal life. People like to see the normal life. They don't like to see oh, you're this fancy, Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So just show your real life because that's what people want to see.
Yes.
We don't want to be playing into the social media
I showed people
demon.
my couch ripped wide open. There's a part that's just ripped.
And they like that.
And they loved it. 2 people wrote me that night and goes, that makes me feel so much better because I have a rip in my couch and I get embarrassed when people come over. And I'm like, do not care what, it's just material things, save your money and then.
That's lovely. So do that, share your life. But I think the thing you said that I didn't even know about, Lightroom.
Yep.
I think a lot of people take those pictures, and I do that. I'm going through my camera reel, and I'm like, a lot of these indoor pictures especially are looks like garbage. Mm-hmm. Because this is a picture of real life. But maybe there's an app called Lightroom that can make those pictures look a little bit more enticing, which will make you want to share them, even if they are the real deal.
Yes.
Okay, very cool. Do you have any final thoughts, tips for what you would recommend for agents? What should they do to get better at social media?
I think having a handwritten step-by-step thing they're going to do every day and look at it over and over again. Like, and just start little. So like the first month, make your goal posting 1 post a day. The second month, incorporate, because if you really are starting from 0, start posting a story once a day, then go up to twice a day. Then every opportunity in real estate that you have can be a picture. I take pictures of Ben writing a PA. I take pictures of people outside the house with a sold sign. I take pictures of the final walkthrough of the house. I take pictures when they're looking for houses. I take pictures when we meet. You know, like any opportunity you get.
Yeah. And I think that's huge because not every agent's as busy as you guys are. You know, maybe you sell 5, 7, 10 houses a year. But if you can take one, most of the time I think people would do like one posting, right? Like here's a sold, here's a person with a sign. One post from a transaction.
You could get 30 out of that person.
30, you could get 30 posts out of one transaction.
One transaction.
That's huge. That's good advice. Okay, one final question that I just remembered. What social media accounts do you follow that you get the most inspiration from and the most ideas?
I follow a lot of like interior design, you know that.
Yeah.
So I really like that. And I love showing people what's in trend because I get a lot of questions. What paint color should I do this? And really funny is that I get a lot of people that are going to list with me in the next 3 years and they go, Ange, should I do this color or should I not spend money on this? So one of my biggest parts of my business is me telling people what to spend money on, what not to. And right now in this market, you don't spend money on much because you're not going to get it back. So I save a lot of people money doing that.
By telling them no.
By telling them no. Yeah. But seriously, everyone thinks it's the 2006 market when you had to have your house pristine for it to sell and to stay on the market for 6 months. What was the question again? Because there was something else I was going to add.
What social media accounts do you follow? So you said a bunch of interior design stuff.
Interior design. Everyone knows I have a secret crush on Kelly Brown. So I like following her stuff. I love her team stuff. I think they're motivational and like they're hardworking girls that post really good stuff. They have the good apps that show the good pictures and like they give me ideas too. And a couple other real estate agents that are like them, I get ideas from. Like even like if people are like, you obviously start with no clients. For a brand new agent, you take a picture with yourself with a sold sign. You take a picture of yourself on showings. You take a picture of yourself looking up CMAs. You make stuff.
Everything you're doing in your business.
Everything you're doing. Because you are still working in, I don't know, trying to get people to follow you.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Angie, people want to follow you and get inspiration from your success on social media. How can they find you?
First of all, I want to say I love helping people. So if you ever have tips and questions, you can ask me. You can literally copy the stuff I do and I would not care.
What's your Instagram handle?
It is Angela_Troxel_realtor.
Beautiful. Thank you. People will go and find you and we'll get you up to 2,000 follows in no time.
I hope so. Follow me.
Well, Angie, thank you so much for your insight. I think this is going to help a lot of agents understand, how to be on the extreme high end of success in social media and also how to just get going and overcome some of those mental barriers. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.